oil spiked to $150 a barrel, which I believe was what, like
That was like 07, 08-ish, right?
2007, 08. A lot of weird
Yeah,
stuff
I remember
happening
that.
then. And I remember at the time, like everyone's like, "Oh, 2025, it's going to be $300 a barrel oil." But things have a way
Yeah,
of
I remember that
surprising
time.
you.
Bush Jr. was president. That was an interesting time for oil. Um, the interesting thing is when oil was at 140 a barrel, we were only paying 435, 425 for unleaded. Now we're trading 70 and we're paying the same price. So half the price of crude and double the price for gasoline costs. So that's interesting. But yeah,
Funny
that
how that
was
works.
yeah, that Bush time was interesting. Especially we had talking to some traders the other day about it. We had Katrina, Hurricane Rita. Natty gas went up to like $15. It was insane. Shut the oil rigs down. It was an interesting time for energies for sure.
Well, not to mention, we had the big show. Well, it didn't bottom out till 2009 in the equities, but I've always wanted to
Ooh.
find the person will never reveal themselves, but I've always thought it would be amazing if on this show we could find whatever person sold 666 in the S&P 500. Like, who
I
was the
actually remember. I
person?
remember the day that happened.
They may not even know it's them, but
Yeah.
people know if they're close. Maybe someone in chat was close, but I really desperately want to talk just to see how it not to rub it in. It's been, more than 16 years or
Isn't his
something
name
like that.
Lou? Lou Cipher?
Lou Cipher.
Yeah, Lou. Yeah, yeah. The
Lou
devil.
Cipher.
Well, it's good to see the
I love
devil
it,
itself
Eddie. That's
getting
great.
getting stopped, liquidated on that. But I just want to see the person. That's something, selling the bottom tick of the financial crisis. That would be awesome.
Now, do you think that was done intentionally or what? What do you think, Jack?
No, I'm sure it was liquidation. I did I did I did know a guy at my at my firm, and if you guys have been listening to the show when I was describing the guy who was on the train trying to impress girls, um, by quoting he was quoting bond spreads, Vince, in
Hmm.
in millions, right? Like the nominal
Okay.
value, which,
Hmm.
it would be like the same thing if one of you guys were long
Yeah, well, with
5
300,000
NASDAQ.
S&Ps right now.
Yeah, yeah, 5 NASDAQ would be what, like 2,000,000. Yeah, buy me 2,000,000 NASDAQ right here.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
buy me 10,000,000 2-year one-to-ones or sorry,
yeah.
2-year bases, stuff like that.
Yep, yep.
He also
It's funny.
he also sold he sold the very bottom of the flash crash. He was like the last puke out.
Oh,
So all that.
yeah, that flash crash was no joke. I got a story for that while we're sitting here. These markets are just going nowhere. So during the flash crash, I actually had a client of mine. Um, Unfortunately, he was short 38 S&P puts the day of the flash
Mm.
crash. Naked S&P puts. All I can say is there was a margin call that day. It wasn't pretty. Um, he had to hedge it with 75. He bought 75 puts at a different strike to try to hedge the risk. Those 75 puts though were $1,000 a piece, so he had a pretty brutal day. But the
Oh my
clearing
god.
firm's like, hey, you need to handle this risk, or we got to blow you out of the position. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting time. Pretty interesting. We've been through some pretty good cycles here, Jack. You and I. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it
Eddie,
was
you've been
great.
there. So
I was professionally
Yeah.
trading during that. Gonna come. We got crude popping a little bit, just checking in on the small MES position that we have on right now. Vince, I was a humble night trader at that point who was managing the books for treasuries overnight. So I was
oh wow,
asleep
nice.
when the flash crash happened, but I was rotating on days with my partner who was from uh, Nanking, China. And he just called me in the middle of the day, which woke me up and just said, he was very like taciturn. Obviously
Mm-hmm.
speaking English as a second language. He said, like, Jack, uh, you don't have to come in tonight. So it was kind of awesome. It was like a snow day for night guys. It was like
Nice.
after seeing that flash crash, nobody wanted to have the risk of holding big open positions overnight with lower liquidity 'Cause at the time, you don't
Hmm.
know is this some sort of game that's gonna happen again? So, it was pretty sweet, actually.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. This is a very, very interesting business. It's always fun, right? And I tell a lot of traders too, because obviously you were from back then. Did you call your orders into the pits, Jack? Did you execute in the pit, or how did you guys execute your orders?
No, we were completely electronic.
Okay.
I could talk to you about, where I was at, but, there were a few guys who used to trade in a pit were there, but I never even saw the pit until, the week it was
Mhm.
closing down. I was like, "Oh my god, I've still never seen it." So, we were
Yeah.
trading everything on, proprietary software.
Nice.
Vince,
Yeah, most of our stuff was executed in the pits. Most of our clientele, we would call them down there, and then they'd fill them. I still have my
you're on the order
timestamp
desk.
machine next to me. Yeah, look,
You're on the
I keep this next to me just as a nostalgic. I showed them last time too, but
Here, let me
still
get you
got
up
it
there,
here.
Vin.
timestamp. It's funny when you'd leave the floor and you were like one of the last persons off the floor. You'd hear hundreds of those just clicking, click, 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 click.
I keep it here. I pretend like I'm still punching tickets.
There you go.
Does it still work? If you
I don't have it plugged in right now. I think it does though. I don't know if there's ink in it though at the moment. If it is, it's probably dried out. It's geez, I used that back 2005. So, geez, 20 years ago. The ink, I'm sure,
They
is
had
dry.
they had one guy
Yeah.
in the trading floor, and that was his job, was to go around, make sure all the time was correct, make sure all the
Mm.
ribbons had ink. That was his job.
Yeah.
And you'd wave him down if you were off 30 seconds or something. You got I mean, the thing is, if you were off, you can get screwed if a price came in at a certain time and the order said something different. You wanted to make sure it was exactly on that second.
Hmm.
we should
Yeah.
totally
It's
do that. Eddie, let's stamp all the live funded trader certificates. Let's run them through the timestamp. That would be a nice little touch. Send them
Chicka
out.
chink. It was a chicka chink.
yeah.
You know, it wasn't a little. It was a heavy stamp.
Yeah. It
Well,
was interesting
harder.
too. Like with time and sales, right? So when you had a trader and the markets are moving real fast, and you call that order down to the floor, and by the time the order comes back where they want their stop is, so they're like, well, I want to see the time of sales on it. And then you have to go get your order tickets. And oh man, what a mess that was, right? Especially if you're busy down there, right, Eddie? You're down in the pit, it was busy.
Yeah,
By the time we get the ticket back, you're filled. It's 10 point, 20 points in a different direction. Yeah, it was
that would be
definitely interesting.
basically fast market. If you had an intern or a runner or a kid that was working with your group, you'd show them how to use the time and sales machine. And you'd give them a time, and they'd print it out. They'd come back, and then what you'd do is when I was in the pits, you'd have to get this to the phone clerk, and the desk trader and the phone clerk. I mean, they would trust each other, obviously, and
Hmm.
they'd say, hey, it went fast market at this point. You put your order in right after fast market, and when it did read fast market, it was like you get what you get, pal. You get what you get.
Hmm.
I mean, sometimes too, you're talking about those desk orders. Um, so when I was working for First Chicago on the desk, and you'd have a fast market, you'd get refused. I tell you, people wouldn't look at you, and if they were stuck, or if they were super busy, or if the market was bad out of hell, um, it'd be hard to get an order in. It'd be tough.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so I mean, it was fast market, man. It was a whole different world, but down there.
Right now, I got the
Absolutely.
1 day open in the ZN. Just checking on rates real quick. We are in yield terms. We're just below 4.3 in the spot 10-year. That's about close to 20 bips. We're talking bips, baby. About 20 bip off of the lows from Tuesday. We put in close to 4.1% in the yields. Uh, Selling off a little bit off the highs here. we look back, kind of, I think this is a level I mentioned yesterday. Would have depended on where your stop was. Once again, you got to be loose because it looks like this level held, but it kind of wicked up through it first. So
We got
something to look at there.
gold 78% long here.
Gold, where we at in the gold?
29.1760.
Okay.
Very, very interesting business. It's always fun. And I tell a lot of traders too, because obviously
I'm
Where's
waiting
my
for crude
BIP
maybe to do
gang?
something.
to execute the bid or
I'm trying to see if this crude oil puts in a new high here real quick. If it does, I might try to get long on a pullback just to give it a little shot. We're above range and value right now. We're toying with yesterday's high. All right, so we're trading like pretty much right at yesterday's high. If we can maybe poke through these guys, and then maybe on a pullback, I might try to get along. So I'm going to keep my eyes here on crude oil, see what's going on.
Excellent stuff. As a reminder, the house account is long a token MES position right now, a little bit in our favor. We'll hold it for a while. As far as options, gamma levels, put levels, we've been moving so much, everything's pretty wide. We saw some resistance at 58.10 yesterday. There's still activity there. Remember, that's probably about 5,800 in SPX, so not surprising that there's a lot of action there. The highest volatility level is way up there, so I'm not worried about that. 59.50 or thereabouts. Although it would be nice. We'd make some money on those two MES. We're about 15 minutes until the open. Vince, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? I know you were scoping out maybe taking that trade.
Yeah, I'm looking at crude oil, and maybe I might be interested in gold right now too. So checking out a couple things here. Just give me 1 second. So gold is above this trend. We're above settlement right now. So I'm looking at a couple of things here. We're trading 1690. Yeah, this gold is getting a little bit of a tickle. I may want to take a long here. Let's see. So right now we have
Order
our market
filled.
doing this. We kind of have off the low, what's called an ascending triangle pattern right here, right there. So I may want to take a long here. We're inside of range and value though from yesterday, but we do have this point of control that I said earlier I'm interested in, and we already got to settlement. We're hanging above settlement. We're up an upward sloping trend line. I may want to take a long. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes so to see how things progress here.
Well, speaking of a couple minutes, we got a couple minutes here, and we're going to be moving off to fast markets. But having Dolby's going to join us here, where we've got Timmy B and Anne Marie going to be joining us for fast markets, and of course Jack will be there. Also, a little later on, we do have Dolby, Jerome, and Gigi DeMonico. Have also Lunchbox Trading. Deanna and Anne Marie will be joining me. We've got Mohammed and Deanna. It's going to be for the Back to the Futures, and to close the day out, Coach Hoop, Dolby, and Coach Jay. Something we got going on here, but just a couple minutes here before we take that time out.
Crude is just hanging. Hasn't done what I wanted it to do yet, so nothing there to do in crude oil yet.
I was muting a baby crying, but they're done. So, Vince, I was just gonna say, we'll go for another, like, 5 minutes here. In advance, I'll do it again, but thanks so much for stopping by this morning to
No,
use
thank you
your
guys.
expertise,
This is
go through the
awesome.
market.
Yeah, I wish the S&P is just look at it real quick because I'm gonna be heading out soon, right? So let's see here. S&Ps. So here in the S&Ps, we have this point of control still, right? So this doesn't really come into play for me unless it's the intraday session. But we have a naked point of control here, and we're trading right around it. Okay, so value low, point of control, value high, settlement. I would like to see this S&P rotate, and maybe get a settlement play here. But we're gonna have to see how that opens at 8:30. But right now we're kind of just in the middle of range and value. It's patience right now. So really, I don't really see anything really brewing there. NASDAQ. Okay, so NASDAQ is still bumping this downward sloping trend line. We have to see if we can build structure, right? Settlement's way up here. So we could have a similar situation here in the NASDAQ where maybe we could build some structure and then maybe rotate. But here's the point of control from yesterday. Okay, so we're just below it a little bit. So patience there as well. Crude oil. Man, I want to see this thing do something. But just meandering around, waiting. I want to see it put in a new high and then maybe pull back, and maybe I'm going to get to the long side and just try to maybe test this this area up here. So right up in
Yeah.
here. Here's value low from the previous day. So somewhere up in
What
there.
area? What area you looking to test, Vince? You got a
Up here around
level there?
67.50-ish. So 67.50-ish. If I get the trade I want, it's about 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So that's worth a crack at it for me.
Okay.
All right, but right now we're just hasn't done what I wanted to do just yet. Let's go back to gold. See where it's going there.
All right, we got
Son
about a
is
minute
leaving for
here.
daycare, so there could be some noise in the background. I apologize in advance. They don't
Don't
know
hear anything,
volume
honestly.
control at
That's
3.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
I
Yeah,
don't
fine.
hear
I've
anything.
been muted. I just know I'm gonna mute myself. What I was gonna say, been a
Okay.
quiet morning so far. Overnight inventory
Yeah,
short
quiet.
in the equities, a good deal. Uh, really not much out of that initial jobless claims number, which was kind of the number du jour. Don't have anything else
Yeah.
until like the 9 wholesale inventories. So we definitely have the opportunity to put some trades on off the open, depending on what happens. So be interesting to see that. And Vince, we're going to take a little bit of a longer break here to get everything set up and let us use the facilities, talk to our families, get my dog out of the kennel. No, just he runs about. But Vince,
We'll be
thanks so
back.
much
That's for
again.
sure. We'll be back with fast markets. But Coach Vince, keep us posted. You have that if you have that trade and what happens with it. We'll also be watching. But got you here.
Yeah, sounds
We're
good.
gonna
I'll
tell you
throw it in
what.
the chat if I take an execution on it.
Yeah.
Right now the markets are they're in standby. Unfortunately, I wish we had a faster market for the segment here, but we're going to NFP day tomorrow, so
better on standby than closed. So anyway, all right, Coach Vince, thanks for being with us. Jack, do what you got to do, Dad. Daddy duties, and
Yeah,
stick around. We're gonna go ahead.
as I say, enjoy a few minutes of the bustling town of Snowmass. That's where I'm going to send us for this break.
All right, all right. Stick
all right,
around.
guys,
We'll be right.
have a great day.
Stay
Trade well,
Coach Vince.
everybody.
We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, good morning, everyone. We just started. Excuse me. Well, okay, anyway. Good morning. Today is Thursday day. Thursday payday. Pay attention if you see my videos.
if the sellers get cut off, I'll add to the trade. And
Okay.
if the buyers get cut off, I'm just going to flatten. So
Okay,
we're
you're
just
gonna
watching the
flatten.
price prove. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Tim, you were already in and out of one. We'll get your P&L later.
Yeah.
What any levels that you're looking at? It's like Anne Marie, you're looking at the previous daily low, which is right around
Yes.
20,220. Sorry, 200. Tim, what levels are you looking at?
So I've got the pivot levels on here. So we just broke through S1
Okay.
at 20,307 half on NASDAQ. And I also look at previous day low. So we're coming into that.
Yes, we are. Okay.
Pretty quickly here. Should be interesting to see what happens there because there was a big rejection off of that area yesterday.
Yeah, really big. I'm looking at the
huge.
same thing,
so-
Tim.
Yep. So looking at that could be an interesting level to look for some
really
kind
good.
of reaction there.
Yeah, we've been largely range bound. I mean, even though the market's been fairly volatile, we're still kind of
Yeah.
range bound. Maybe today is the day that we break out of it, or maybe it's a fake out. Because we do have some pretty important news coming out tomorrow, which might kind of keep the market collared a little bit until it happens. I mean, obviously, the scariest trades are often the best trades, and so does that mean scary longs are really good at 20,200, or maybe 20,000 evens? Do we do a little stop run today? I mean, we're doing a very bad job of making higher highs and higher lows. So clearly, the trend is to the downside.
For sure.
I think if it does push. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tim. No,
Tim?
go ahead.
I was going to say, I think if it does get below 20,200-ish, if it does significantly break below there, it wouldn't be too difficult to get down to even like almost maybe even 20,000 even, but we could probably get to like 20,074, 75, because that's low of day from 2 days ago.
Yep.
So
it's like buyers are already trying to come in too. I mean, does anyone on screen actually enjoy trading the first 5 to 30 minutes of the market?
Yesterday?
I do.
Or
in general?
Oh, just in general.
Some people don't like trading the open. So I'm just asking the question.
I actually do like trading the open.
Me too.
Sometimes
All right,
sometimes I get wicked out, but
chat, you're crazy too. Sometimes it's so volatile. Look at this. Look at this move. Already up 40 points from the lows.
Honestly, yeah, yesterday that we had that big drop and then it spiked up like insane, and my system told me to get short right at the bottom of that spike, and it just wiped me out. It was not fun.
No, we might even getting wedged already. Yesterday we were talking about getting kind of like 1% better. Every single day I try to get 1% better. Chat, if there is something that you were trying to get 1% better at today, feel free to put it in there, and then we can all collectively hold you accountable and then shame you. You didn't do it. I'm just kidding. I'll be sorry. But type it out. It helps. It helps if you type it out, chat. So if there's something you're trying to improve on today, put it out there in the world, and all of you together will help each other, hold each other accountable. I don't know why that was so hard to say. Let's see.
Gold, 80% long.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I see a big resistance zone right there at 29.22-ish. Sort of like that mid zone in a big fat balance area.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got upshot because, the dollar is just getting shellacked.
Ooh, okay. I think you're muted now. Or I'm muted.
Me?
Something happened. Oh no, you're good.
Oh, no,
you're
I
good,
can
you're good.
I can hear.
Oh, sorry.
No, we're good. And I think
I
we
was
have
watching
charts.
YouTube.
Charts now too. Tim, what shape are your charts in on your screen? Are they like a hot dog style or hamburger style?
Let's see. Yeah, that's my screen right there.
New
I just want to know I'm not gaslighting myself. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. No, those are my screens up there, man. You got it. Jack rocking it
Perfect.
in the background, man.
Someone got filled.
Here.
Me.
Long or short?
Long.
Long. Nice bounce.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, trying to nip the new lows there. That's a very good fill. Very, very good fill. What's your trade, Anne Marie?
It's going to be long into a daily close at 20,316. That's what I would love to see. But what I want to see from the TPOs is really reflexive buying off of this edge. And so far we've got it. It's looking pretty good.
When you're referring to edge, do you mean
that,
volume profile? Is that what you're referring to? The edge of the
yes,
volume
the
profile?
TPO.
Okay.
The TPO.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say I'm also just realizing that we just bounced off of a point of control from yesterday. And yesterday when we ran into it, we had a hard rejection off of it as well. So that also seems like another good supporting factor there for your long, Emery.
Yeah, here we go.
You basically just bought the bottom of the 1 minute range. And now we're at the top of the 1 minute range in NASDAQ. So what'd you get long? Like 20,240s approximately?
20,250.
Oh my goodness.
And so here comes my target. I'm just going to flatten it.
Wow, Anne-Marie already cooking. Already cooking.
Let's go.
50-point banger.
Let's go.
Anne-Marie does like trading the open, apparently. Jack, what position do you?
Crazy about it.
We're kind of carrying the same pseudo swing trade that we flattened yesterday. So we had very small size into when I was on the opening call with Vince. We added another, so we're up to 3 MES, just playing the rejection. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, 10 days till Shamrocks or whatever, that we reject off of this 200. So this is something I'm going to add very slowly. I think I'm probably willing to lose $1,000, $1,500, but we'll be in a bigger size if it gets down there. But in the meantime, we're holding that great scalp there by Anne-Marie, though.
Yeah, insanely good trade. And do you want to walk us through just kind of exactly, just do a little trade breakdown of what you were seeing?
Absolutely.
That was super cool.
I'm going to go to the daily chart and I'm going to show you why I picked this zone here and why I'm going to continue to add on that space. So I was a little bit of a wimp. You see, it's coming right into that 315. That's where the trade actually needs to get flattened in terms of this rotation. But I looked at the weekly formations, and there are a couple of things we can see. First of all, every deep wick, and my wick are, let's change the way those wicks look so they're a little thicker so that you can see them. Let's go to the settings.
Cat likes thick wicks.
Which have whisked.
Get out of town.
They've whisked appeared. Where are my settings? Oh well, can't see them. All right, so here's what we're seeing. We're seeing this very big range of motion, and every deep dip is getting bought. And let me show you actually why I think they're getting bought. And we have to go even bigger to the weekly chart. And if you look to the left on the weekly formation, wow, that's weird. Let me try and open up
order filled
this again. Let's get this reset. Okay. So if we stare this down and we go to the weekly chart, what we can see is that we've had this balance zone right here. It's super noisy, but on the weekly formations, the last times we were there back in September, every single pullback got bought. Every single pullback. Now we're staring down a 50 simple moving average on the week, also a floor of support. And everything that's suggesting in the big time frames that there's a gigantic battleground here. That's why I didn't hold the trade past the 300 area, because it's everybody that's long is getting out extremely quickly. As soon as we hit resistance, they're out.
Yeah.
And so it tells me that the traders are very nervous on any kind of updraft, but at the same time, they're not afraid to buy. And so that's why I positioned it there. I looked at the weekly formations. I have a weekly volume profile off of my Motive Wave platform. Everything was telling me they were going to buy down there. So what I looked for was a price probe into the region
Order
that
filled.
just said, all right, let's see if they're going to pick it up from that edge. And the most likely edge was just above yesterday's low, because the day before yesterday, we also had a lower low. So we're trending in a region that says low, higher low, maybe another higher low here. It sort of, I mean, it maybe got a higher low by about 5 points.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening. So because NFP's tomorrow, I suspect we're likely to stay range bound in general today. And the trader who's going to win, in my mind, is a scalp trader. I don't see price action holding for long periods of time, because we've got wicks all over the place.
Man,
on
what
both
analysis
ends.
from Anne Marie. Killer trade. Still looking to buy those lows. We're very range bound on this 1 minute, but we're getting like 40-point swings in seconds here.
Yep.
So things are really flying around in NASDAQ. Tim, any trades in the meantime? You still sitting on hands, kind of waiting, analyzing, ready to pounce?
I am. I'm trying a little long here in the Russell and also in the Dow. The Dow looks, I'm just really tight stop on the Dow here. It looks like I'm about to get stopped out.
Yeah,
Russell,
these are still rolling over a little bit. I was actually just thinking about shorts at 300s and NASDAQ. Did not take them. The range has been very good so far.
I think everybody. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, you have some bids still left in the market right below this 1 minute consolidation, like below 20,240.
I pulled them.
Pulled them. Okay.
Yeah, I pulled them, but I'm still expecting they'll come. What I want to see again is that price probe. So from a pricing perspective, if we think about the markets being a place that simply facilitate trade, there are going to be guys that say, hey, I wonder if there's more shorts underneath here. So the first little bounce, they'll go, okay, I'll position short. And if the shorts don't get jammed, they can stay short. But if they do get jammed, then they can cut the trade and then realize, all right, they're still trying to make a floor there. And so all these little price probes that we're seeing on the 2 minute chart, it's telling us that the shorts are they're not headed into this area right now. They're trying to make a floor here. Now, the trend is down, so we're going to find sellers above. But if they continue to try to stem the tide, buyers picking up off of this 250-ish level, if they can hold that zone, we're going to move right back up into I see a little balance area from yesterday that goes all the way to maybe 350, 370 if it bounces there. Otherwise, they're going to continue to probe the bottoms here until they get a flush, and then we get another long. So because I'm thinking about these big weekly lines in the sand that are saying, hey, they're trying to stem the tide here, I'm still sort of waiting for that sweet spot long that comes in when, we see the ladder get thin, but we also see the TPO get really, really skinny on the bottom,
The tail.
meaning that they're just flushing those out, and then it's going to turn around and move right back up.
Yep. I mean, as they say, come failed moves, come fast moves.
Exactly.
If shorts get
Order
caught
filled.
with their hand in the cookie jar,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm doing food analogies, I guess. That's how I think about the market. Who has their hand caught in the cookie jar?
Well, this is also a good day to talk about what Hogue does with the old stacking them up in the orders. This is the third time now, right below where we are now, like the low of the days here. Third
Mhm.
straight session where we bottom out here. Have we exhausted the buying there? That's the flush, I think.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie.
That is a
Ooh.
huge question. And that's why I'm not positioning for a second long just yet, because what I really want to see it is defend the zone. And so
Order
far,
filled.
it just bounces into resistance, rolls off again. So I'm going to let them try and build out a little bit of volume here. But if you're a scalp trader, the stop is very tight, and you just, run it up for 30, 40, 50 points and then just get yourself out.
Looking at
We're
the
gonna
tilt
offer.
now, indecisive. We got 50%, 48% long ES, 49% long NQ, 45% long CJ, 81%. Gold bugs are out. House account, Dolby, you do what you want. We can fight contrarian things. I'm long for MES now.
Okay.
Because I'm trading in a different
Hmm.
time frame than Anne Marie is. Both can be valid. Find what works for you.
Mhm.
Yep.
Maybe I'll get smoked today. Who knows?
I'm looking
I
to
like it there.
offer. I really want to offer. Oh my god, I was going to offer 300s. I moved the order up. I'm looking to get short. I think in Nasdaq. I think we're kind of making some higher lows right now, but the range is good, and we're in a downtrend.
Exactly.
So the odds are just lean short because that's how the market's moving. Lower lows, lower highs. Not super interested in just hopping into longs against the trend. So I'm going to see if we can offer 318s. It might be too much of a stretch, but if we do get a stop run, we'll have a very, very nice entry. But this might be the situation. Anne-Marie,
Exactly.
yesterday, all of our losing trades got filled, and then all of our excellent winning trades missed by like 2 points or a couple ticks. We had a couple like that. I'm just
Yeah.
hoping this is not the
It's how it
situation.
goes.
I
It's the
know. Isn't that
game.
trading?
Yep.
That's why we
It's the
love trading.
game.
I want to get back to
Oh
chat.
man.
Oh, Tim, what do you got? How you feeling?
So yeah, I took a long in the Dow. I took a long in the Russell, and I basically was part of the stop run.
Uh-oh.
So I was seeing a 3-bar reversal. I was preempting it on the roll here on the 5-minute. Man, and I just got wow. And so let me show you what I was looking at here. So over here on the Russell, I took it in a different account, so that's why the P&L is showing something else. But so right here, I saw that this was a support level. This is the previous day low from yesterday in Russell, and had this doji pin bar right here, and so I got long in the bottom part of this wick down here, anticipating it to hold and bounce up. And so it flushed through, and then now it's bounced up and has gone now to my target of where I would have wanted to get out. So that's fun.
Yeah.
So, do
Yeah.
you ever adjust when you see a morning setting up like that,
Short.
do you adjust your stop events or your size when you see these kinds of big body candles on the tight time frames, or do you say to yourself, this is just what I do every time? How do you look at that?
Yeah, it depends on the strategy that I'm trading. So I've got my mechanical strategy where I try to trade the same stop size and targets and everything every time. But then this trade that I took here was a 3-bar reversal pattern, similar to what Dakota does. And I actually, so to answer your question, I'm sizing down today quite significantly because it's just been I've been beaten up pretty bad this week. So I'm just kind of licking my wounds a little bit, trying to recover. But on this trade, I actually took 2 entries on it. I got stopped out on the first one. I got back in at the bottom of this candle here, actually below it. And I had my stop just a little bit too tight, and it came down and just wicked me out and then popped back up. So yeah, I
That
do
always
take multiple
feels
entries
fair.
in those scenarios, and because I know that a lot of times, this happens. And when you see a strong, one thing I probably should have waited for in retrospect is this strong volume candle right here, because that can be an indicator that is all of the sellers getting out, or if there's a bunch of buying right here, that's a bunch of buyers getting in. And so this can be an indicator that from up here at 2080 or 2079, there were sellers that came in, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red bars on the 5-minute, which is a stat actually on Edgeful that I've noticed on Russell and most of the indices on a 5-minute chart. If there's 5 red candles in a row, on average there's going to be a green candle after 5 red candles.
And on what time frame is that?
The 5-minute.
What size are those candles? Okay, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, 5 minutes. And then and so pairing that with this volume spike right here, that actually would have been a good indicator to actually get long at the bottom of this candle one more time. But I was actually watching the Dow, which basically the same thing happened on the Dow because I was anticipating the same move. So I got stopped out on both of them.
Nice. That's
so
unfortunate.
Long way of saying I was part of the stop run.
Little house account update. We did get stopped out of a NQ short right at 344s, which is actually the high of that candlestick. So that's fun. We were shorts 318s and got stopped at 344s on the dot.
Oh man,
that is sickening.
So if I could share just a tiny bit of insight there on setting the stop.
Please.
What I have noticed is if you use the hourly NQ candlestick formations, you're going to see where those guys decide they're going to take the trade into. And this is a textbook. This used to happen to me all the time before I started looking at the 1 hour as the master and commander of the trend. And so just look to the hourly candlestick to the left and go, okay, can I handle that risk? That's going to be that zone that's going to help you with the stop.
Oh, nice. That's some good advice. That's something I'm trying to work on too. Man, sometimes these smaller time frames can really get you in the chop shop.
You get in exactly. You get put in a washing machine.
Perspective. And it's like I find myself, even though I don't like the ranges that much on the 5-minute chart and NQ, the 1-minute chart and the 30-second chart just are not lining up with major levels, and so it's killing my perspective. And so I'm not able to identify where other traders are trying to participate in the market. I'm trying to identify where I'm participating in the market, and no one gives a shit what I think. So I need to get aligned with everyone else. One lot is not going to move.
We do care. We just aren't throwing hundreds of
market
dollars.
doesn't care. Definitely care. Market doesn't care. Market,
just like we care. Dolby, if we want to take a walk around the other markets, I'll go to my screens real quick.
So what else is going on? Got about 5 minutes here on our next set of numbers
remaining.
Cool.
Oh yeah, we got what do we have? Wholesale inventory. 9 a.m. Thank you for that, Eddie. Lost track of time. Here's the oil. You can see I got a 15-minute chart up. We've been ranging back and forth over this session. A lot of crisscrossing down there after the bottoming out yesterday. Wow, Dolby, this looks like something for you. There's
what a range.
Yeah, what a range.
Yeah,
sure.
But shorts have gotten themselves squeezed in here. After that Vicent commentary about, hey, we're trying to push it down to 50. Everybody just chased in, and
order filled.
You know, that reflexive bounce it's huge. So 67 ought to be a pretty good ceiling today. And see, that actually might set up as a really nice short. You just have to get out very quickly if it breaks above 67. But if you can get that 66.90, you know, there
It's a
might
fun
be
market to trade.
Yeah, where do we
Yeah,
think
there-
the
Actually, good
floor
technical
is?
market.
Because we're getting down into the levels where certain types of production become unprofitable.
exactly.
So,
I don't
like,
think
there's a
that gets
floor
here
too,
Exactly.
and the
60s.
floor we've learned is $150 negative or whatever it was, $50 negative. But that was because the contract was expiring. Take a look at gold. Tilt loves it. 80% long. Bury it in your yard. It is retracing back, wiping out all of this overnight stuff here on the dip. Buy gold has been a good trade pretty much all year. Something you might want to look at there. Going back to the MES, which is where we still don't have full position on. So kind of going back, maybe some short covering there, heading back down. And let's get ready because we got 2
What's your
minutes on the
target?
dot until wholesale inventory. No roads go to where my target is.
Ah,
No,
gotcha.
I'll
For
take
the
some
risk
off,
manager.
take some on. 1 second. We're doing a lot back here. I'm going to switch to Dolby's screen.
Just be careful. Those roads, those no roads might turn into water slides. See what this number's got.
Oh, I do have a stop in. Here's the thing with all the Trump stuff is if I have a position on, I have a stop, but I don't like to keep a profit target in the market because
Got it.
if things start moving one way, we're doing a lot of stuff back here. We're chatting, we're producing. Is things can start ripping one way or the other. Can you hear that? That baby crying?
No.
Sounds like
don't.
coffee.
Sound of
Man.
it.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm attuned to it. All right, we got about a minute going right here. I'm going to mute for a second.
All right, Jack's muted. That's fine. All right, here we go. Got this news coming out soon-ish. It's not on the Top Step X calendar, I don't think. Is it Financial Juice? A little Trader Hub off to the side.
Well, we got wholesale coming up here
Yep.
in about 40 seconds.
Yep, see
You're
it
looking
right
at a
there.
0.7 prior 0.7. And the number after
Financial
that, we
Juice.
got a natural gas
Built
at
it.
9:30. Right now, we've got 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Big time wedge. NASDAQ. They got to be waiting for news here. We have now higher lows and lower highs. It's a Dorito type of day for the open right now.
Every single open for the last week and a half, almost 2 weeks, has just been insanely choppy.
Yeah.
Like it's just been,
Yep.
it's been just crazy. Like, I mean, with the system that I've been trading, I've just been getting, I've been getting smoked on these opens.
All right, here we go. Coming in at 0.8%. They were looking at 0.7. And of course, I'll give you this, make it official. Also, we do have the wholesale sales month over month. They were looking at a 0.5% coming in at negative 1.3. And that's what we have here so far. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Eddie. Looks like NQ's bidding down a little bit. Let's see if the ES is following suit. Certainly is. RTY hanging in there a little bit, actually. Just a little bit. Nice megaphone pattern in the RTY. That's a nightmare to trade. But here we go. Okay, looks like NASDAQ is
29.30 looks like the target in gold. If people are long and they might want to take some profit up here at 29.30. It
higher
really
lows
moved
once
very
again.
cleanly from 29.20 to 29.30.
Henry, do you think some people or some traders have moved to trading commodities that have just been trending way better than some of these indices have been? Is it an easier trade now?
I think that really depends on the trader. If someone says, hey, it makes sense to me, or the wicks are too big in certain other places, you can certainly see that. But, I honestly believe that we are going to move into a commodities bull cycle.
Okay.
in general. So metals, anything that we can pull out of the ground, you know,
Oil, gold, platinum, copper.
yeah,
You
yeah,
include
all
farm
of that.
animals in there
And
too? Full of sheep out on the
what?
ground. Like commodities, like all commodities. So like
Roby, did you just say
cows.
liquid farm animals?
No, I said like.
I think that's oil.
That's oil. Yeah.
That is
That's oil.
You know, I don't have like my little news packets today, but I was going to say I saw something on Twitter where someone posted that we're at like a major sort of cycle. The ratio between equities prices and commodities prices is at an extreme that has not maybe been seen since financial crisis, .com bubble, things like that.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the copper charts or the companies that have huge copper reserves, they've been beaten to a pulp. And so if you're looking for something where you go, hey, I'm going to put that in my 401k, or I'm going to put that in some sort of account and just watch it, think
Order
about all the
filled.
rebuilding that we are eventually going to have to get to.
Order
right?
filled.
Hopefully, Ukraine doesn't stay a dumpster fire and they have to rebuild that place because it's absolutely in shambles. And then we've got the eastern side of the country that's been decimated by the hurricanes, the western side decimated by fires. We're going to have rebuilds. And
a
so
good point.
we've got lumber, we've got metals, and even if you think about that AI thing, all the data centers are going to need copper,
Order filled.
Yep.
right? There's
And other
just,
precious.
and they just are not pulling it out of the ground. Now, what Jack said,
Nazi, big big jump here in Nazi, about 40 points in, I don't know.
So it's
less
moving
than 30
back
seconds.
into, it's moving back into the congested range. And so my thought is I'm going to do a test probe for short.
Test probe.
On the upside here.
Test probe.
If it doesn't
this is strong.
If it doesn't immediately reject and starts holding, I'm not going to add to the position at all. I'm just going to sit here and watch it for a quick hot minute. And what I suspect it does is come down to the halfway spot where our 315 is. If I'm wrong, I'll flatten, right? Very, very quickly. And if I'm right, I sit in the trade.
It's a cheap trade. It's a great range trade, too. Very good range trade. That trade takes some cojones because NQ was looking real strong right up until 20,380s. Real strong. But you are in the zone.
Yeah, you know, those hourly candlesticks are just.
How tight is your stop
I'm
on
gonna make a
that?
point to. I'm gonna make a point to start looking at the hourly more because of that. What you said, Anne-Marie. That's because I've got a context screen up here where I've got the hourly, got the 30, I've got the 15 and the 5. And some with the hourly, I switch back and forth between the daily and the hourly just to give myself a broader context. But I'm gonna start paying more close attention.
Real
to that
quick, I think
I
see
that
the
hourly
news.
Candlestick is great.
Oh, what do you got?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, we got some biscuits. Don't want to freak everybody out, but there we go here. U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick talking about the tariffs reprieve, not likely just about automakers. It's going to likely include all the USMCA covered products. Also, he says, I expect to speak with Mexican counterparties later today. So keep eyes on the prize. And back to you.
I've said it before. I will say it again. This tariff thing has become like the scene in Wayne's World where they're playing hockey in the street and just moving the goal every time the car is. And that is the equity market right now. It's just up,
Game
up,
on.
up. Game on.
Car.
Game on.
Game on.
Love it. It's such a good analogy.